You know, I think my life is in need of something. With every mascot having a racing game to their name, one of them has to have Kirby in it. This has got to stop happening. Kirby is one of those mascots that can do the same thing over and over again and just see crazy success. Created by the famous Masahiro Sakurai, who would later develop everybody's favorite franchise, Kid Icarus, and nothing else, Kirby would be a game that is both for the experienced and beginner-friendly gamer. Want to tough it out and rummage through the course, or do you want to fly over everything? Kirby suffers from good game design, but as this little puffball grew up, this game design got more stale. Newer Kirby releases just don't feel that impactful, so when a spin-off comes along, that's when shit gets serious. While many people first point to Kirby's Epic Yarn as the best spin-off, people often tend to look over, oh shit, they made a Kirby game for the GameCube? Well, not completely forgotten, Kirby's Air Ride is a game I feel doesn't get the love it really needs or deserves. I mean, come on, it's Kirby in a racing game. Who doesn't want that? Kirby's Air Ride would actually see development as an N64 game at the start. It was shown off as a demo alongside Super Mario 64, but I guess development hell and other projects got in the way of completion. The game finally did see release on July 11, 2003 in Japan and October 13, 2003 in the States, selling around 1.3 million worldwide. While those numbers aren't anything to scoff at nowadays, for the time it was considered a commercial success. So why the hell do people not talk about this game? I didn't even know of this game's existence for a while, and that's so strange. I grew up during a time where GameCube games were readily available, and yet I did not see this game both on the online forums I went to and in store. So it begs the question, was this game so bad or mediocre that people didn't really want to go near it with a 10-foot stick? Well, upon booting up the game, we get a really cool startup cutscene, and I miss these. I miss the era where games gave you a little bit of a teaser of what's to come before the title screen appears. It pumps me up like, yeah, let's get it on! We have 3 modes you can do, but can we just take a look at this menu for a second? This menu and the sound effects feel very similar to Super Smash Bros. Melee. Some of the sound effects are borrowed too. I don't have a problem with it, I'm just saying it's something I noticed. You have 3 main modes you can do: Air Ride, Top Ride, and City Trial. Air Ride is the normal racing mode, and it's very interesting. Think of racing just with extra steps. Why is the manual so thick? Racing is not this complicated. First things first are the controls. You're always accelerating and you can turn or brake to build up a boost. The braking is done with the A button, and remember that button because it's the only button you'll be using, so say you're sorry to it before you abuse it. There's a lot of strategy involved in boosting. You can't abuse this too much, but if you pull it off at the right time, you'll get a major speed boost. Along the courses, there are various Kirby enemies that you can vor into to gain their abilities. Some help you race, others to fly, and some you can hit your other opponents with. I like this idea. Using Kirby's abilities as sort of Mario Kart items is way more interesting than any of the Mario Kart items. Listen, I know I said I loved you, but sometimes a younger cousin comes along to just take that away from you. I'm sorry, but you're going to the pits of hell. You have other air rides you can unlock, and these suck. The Warp Star works best in my opinion because it has all-around average stats, making it easier to control. Some of these other air rides are just fucking weird. For one of them, you need a brake to turn, another one you need to boost to even move, and one of them is very slippery to control. Now listen, I get compromising to gain a little bit of stats and risking some others, but really the balance here is just awful. It's especially unfair when the CPUs can handle these air rides far better than you ever could. You have free run in every game mode, which is basically your time attacks and practice mode. I like this because you can get better with the air rides thanks to these modes, and it feels way more worth it than in other racing games. You know, sometimes it takes an older cousin to take that away from you. Top Ride is like a mini version of Air Ride. Instead of intense racing, it's like watching those tiny Hot Wheels tracks, but this time the cars actually stay on the track. Instead of controlling an Air Ride, you have 2 picks of a Top Ride, both of which control very differently from an Air Ride. The turning is all f***y. Either you have 2 directions to turn, or you can hold the stick in the direction you want to face. You can still boost in this mode and use items to your advantage, and this can get chaotic sometimes. I think it's a neat little mode, but at the same time, I could never really go back to it. I think normal Air Ride does the job much better. You see, I was close to throwing you down there, but not this time. This time, you're safe. You, however, I'm gonna throw down there for fun. City Trial is the last main game mode, and this has to be my favorite mode. What you have to do is explore around a city and collect various stat boosters for a final battle. Along the way, you can find new air rides, and this is where you can actually hop off your air ride and control Kirby in a 3D space. After controlling this, I think it's time for a 3D Kirby game. He controls well in a 3D space, and I think there's a lot you can do with a 3D Kirby game. Why is Kirby stuck in this limbo of just repeating the same kind of game over and over again? Hell, get the Odyssey team to do it, or just have any fucking team do it. It would probably be really great, but this mode's final challenges are quite fun and range from drag race to playing darts with your air ride. And you know what they say about playing darts with your car, it's that it can get you up to 5 years in prison. Don't ask how I know that, the court told me not to talk about it, but I gotta say, Kirby's Air Ride is a good game. In fact, it's a great game, so it does beg the question, why the hell does this thing never get re-released? This game is so much fun and could have benefited from a modern release. Online play, widescreen, better graphics, more courses. The only thing I think is missing from this game is a story mode, but it was never meant to be that kind of game. It's a good racing game, and you can even unlock more characters, Meta Knight and King Dedede. The requirements to unlock them are very much high. In Air Ride mode, you have to fly for 30 minutes to unlock Meta Knight, and destroy 1,000 enemies to unlock King Dedede. In City Trial, you have to destroy 1,000 boxes for Meta Knight, and for King Dedede, you just need to beat him in a certain stage. The amount you have to do to unlock them is just kind of ridiculous, so is it really worth the risk? Meta Knight and King Dedede control horribly. Meta Knight can't boost and Dedede has poor stats. The fact that you have to go through so much to unlock them is kind of wild, but I don't understand. Why are they packed in with the Air Riders? Why not just have them be Kirby skins or something? They're both already knocked down a peg because they can't use the abilities. You can also unlock one last track, and it's alright. It's kind of long, and instead of getting your abilities from enemies, you have these little spots on the ground with question marks over them, randomizing your ability that you get. It's kind of like Mario Kart in a way. So with all of this in mind, is Kirby Air Ride a game that I think is better than some of the mainline titles we've been getting recently? I don't understand why the best of Kirby is always pushed aside for dumb rinse and repeat city. Seriously, maybe instead of taking ideas from Kirby games and putting them into Smash Brothers, you make an interesting Kirby game. I don't get why Nintendo is so scared to take a risk on a series that desperately needs the risk. Nobody is really buying Kirby games that aren't fans of Kirby because nobody wants another 2D Kirby game. Why even make a Kirby racing game at that point? Why not just release a mainline title? Because again, this was the only Kirby game that was released on the GameCube. The one that would come right after it would be Return to Dreamland on the Wii, but that was the first game not developed by Sakurai himself, so I guess even at this time the series needed a tune-up, and a tune-up it was. This was a really good game for its time. I just think it came out a little bit too early. Oh, so I see you all climbed down to the gates of hell. Yeah, I see where this is going. Oh shit, you got Rubik's Cubes down here? Alright, hell might not be too bad.